before the camera cut out, I believe I was saying last Friday we had an incident, and boy, was an incident. How smart are coyotes? Well, about 2:30 in the afternoon, I was working on the free pickup camper to shed conversion, and he was kind of out of my line of sight, but nearby. Well, let's get back to about 2:30 in the afternoon. I noticed some movement that just seemed peculiar. And like in a flash of a second, I could see 4 coyotes trying to lead him off and make him the cuisine, the after Thanksgiving Day menu. And I believe it was a mom and a dad and 2 pups, but the pups were learning, shall we say, their necessary skills to survive. And he got a lesson in not being closer to me, which one moment you feel sorry, but the other one you don't, because his own lack of stupidity and how do you explain it? Well, he just wants to do things his way sometimes, and he learned a lesson. But fortunate for him, he was smart enough to circle back around to headquarters while I chased off the coyotes. The coyotes around this area are a little bit bigger than him. And the males obviously are slightly larger than the females, but they're smart as hell. They're a lot smarter than you think they are. Well, I already knew they were smart, but to see their tactical skill and what they were trying to do was just sheer brilliance. And obviously pure stupidity on his part up until the very end, because if he hadn't circled back and done what they wanted to do, which was a chase, that would have been the end for him. And as you can see, feeding the fire pit what it likes to use to make it happy, this has been a major nuisance. And I've just been waiting a little bit for it to lighten up as far as the snow and moisture content within it to dry out so we could do something with it. And now, I'd say about 24 hours from now, it will be no more. It's about 300 pounds. Obviously, something you can't lift by yourself. So you just use the old principle of leverage. As far as he is concerned, I'm now putting him on a tether with, you can actually see what I'm doing. I put a short stick on it. I don't know if he understands the full effect and reason for it, but this stick obviously is going to slow him down in case that happens again. So, and if it does happen again, he's not going to be able to scoot away very fast with that being a hindrance. And I will hear something going down and get to it much quicker, because obviously those related canine figures, in the way of coyotes, they're not stupid. The likelihood of them coming back is pretty high, along with the other ones that just stroll through here. That was the first time that they've actually tried to grab that little woofer. But he knows what's going down. I'm going to have to tether him up real quick. You see this thing? While I top the car, About a week after we picked up the Ego, towed it back, we had the ball joint come loose on the French Horror. And when the ball joint came loose, um, the tire obviously dropped. And during the time fetching the tools to figure out what the hell's going on and let's try to get it home, this was collapsed right on the sill, what we dumb Americans call the rocker panel, and it did get it. It did get the seal cord, so yeah, we're gonna have to address that because we've been driving around right now on a spare tire, and whenever we've been driving around anywhere significant distance, we have to pump this full of air, and it's only good for about, we'll say, 24 hours. So yeah, this is a tire made by Goodyear, yet Walmart sells them under the Douglas brand, and they only run about, well, they raised the price. They used to be in the high 30s. Now it's $59. You can't beat that. It's I believe it's an R-rated tire, so that's about what, right around 100 miles an hour. And being that the French Horror, that's about all she can top out on overdrive. No big deal. You get the Goodyear tire without the name, and you get all the qualities of a Goodyear tire. They are made in the USA. I've had good luck with these tires. This cannot be faulted on the tire. That is no fault of the tire. But anyway, they're made by Goodyear. They're fairly quiet. The tires stay round their entire lifetime, and the tread cords stay true. I cannot say that for Dunlops, Michelins, Continentals, Pirellis. Your best bet with tires is to buy the Koreans, the Japanese, and the American tires, whether they're made here in the USA or Japan, Malaysia, or Korea. But Douglas, that's just another name for Goodyear that Walmart puts on their tires. And the last time I bought one of these online, it was $59 free shipping, and then I believe it's mounted and balanced for $12 lifetime of balances. But that is no fault of the tire. So yeah, so that's the deal with that. We're gonna have to order one again. So hey, you goofball, you can see it actually did a El Camino or Peugeot 405 curb. Well, you can see mud has gotten to it, but when the tire landed on here, it curled it in. So it looks like an El Camino rocker or a Peugeot 405 rocker. And the ball joint on this car, if you want to look at it, they are mounted completely opposite of what you would think of how a ball joint's supposed to go in. This is it right here, and it screws into the bottom of the strut. And the safety hoodicky, somehow something happened and it broke loose. It probably broke loose. Scary to think of it on the way back from bringing the Eagle back. And I noticed something was making noise, almost sounded like a McPherson strut cartridge that was going out. But it was actually this thing working its way loose, and it popped off completely. It was kind of sketchy cleaning up the threads and getting it to thread back in there, but it's in fairly good condition. There's no slop in it, so I just put it back on with the pipe wrench and the 5-pound hammer, and then put the safety clip back in here up here. It's a big washer with tabs on it, and they lock into this, and they lock into the McPherson strut. So yeah, and we also put a crack in that rubber brake line from the strut coming out and resting up against the sill. We already got the replacement one. I believe it's a General Motors or the company that Peugeot buys their brake lines from, got it online from Slovakia of all places. It wasn't bad. It was what, $20 with free shipping. It took about 2 weeks for it to come through as far as clearing customs and all. But when the weather gets better, we will be replacing the rubber line. But it's cracked where you can see that plastic tie that was supposed to be holding the brake pad ground wire. The brake pad ground wire, it was one of the casualties in the situation. It's no big deal. I'll just look around for some wires that go to the brake pad bullet male end connector, and that's no big. It just tells you when your brake pads are getting low. Just when you get to the raw metal part, which is the low part of the brake pad, it just sends the ground signal to the idiot light in the dash. Nothing fancy, nothing high tech, okay? Don't get yourself all worked up about it. And these calipers, these are the same that you will find on a Porsche 944. However, most Porsche people probably don't know it, and a lot of VW people, they're easy to get and they're cheap, either brand new or rebuilt. They're made by ATE. They're a lot better than the American-made and European-made Bendix calipers. They are complete junk. The Bendix aluminum calipers, they tend to warp and they leak as far as the slave that pushes the piston up against the pads. So these are not bad calipers. They're single, that's it. Nothing fancy, but they're big, and it's a fairly lightweight car when you grand scheme things. So yeah, so that's it. As you can see, McPherson struts. There's no rot. If any people are wondering about Peugeots and have heard bad things, there's absolutely zero rot on this car. That's because even though it was used on the coast for 20 years, it got power washed at least minimum once a week with hot soapy water. So cars don't rust out. Lazy, stupid people allow cars to go to ruin quickly. So all that crap you hear about, Peugeots, they rust out or this and that, nah, it's just laziness and stupid people. So let's do a camper to shed conversion update, shall we? That piece I showed you, the zigzag piece, is it? Or it looks like a step. Anyway, it's on somewhat right now. After we painted it, the temperature got really, really low, like in the teens, actually below the teens, and it delaminated right around this area where the window opening is at. I don't know if you can see the crack, so I would not recommend painting prior to what the weather's going to be. I think as the paint was sinking in, obviously it has moisture, and when the temperature dropped really, really low, well, it doesn't take a brain surgeon. We did have a little delamination here, which is kind of important. But once we get the window opening and window installed, prior to the window install, we'll get some turpentine or acetone, and we will buy some fiberglass resin to dilute it and just fill this area in between the layers, and that should take care of that. It has been quite of a chore. It was getting this thing square as far as right up there. Let me see if I can get up there without killing the camera. As you can see, we're right there. And from here, right here, sorry kids or adults if I freaked you out with the cigarette, but from here to the top of here, right there, that is 5.5 inches perfect, even with this thickness taken into account. So our 1x6 will go right up to here to our brand new piece of 2x4. We checked it already with a piece like this. So it did take some time, and I mean took some time. It probably took 2 days with this crazy weather the way it is to get this piece square and perfect. And yeah, because we would have a bunch of problems up there if we didn't take our time, rather than, doing the lazy thing. Oh, screw it, I need to go watch a football game. Or number 45, he's giving a speech on Real America's Voice, or what's the other one? Right Side News Broadcasting, I believe. And if we want to talk politics, although I think number 45 does love our country, I sometimes question his motive for running for office again, because he didn't do much when he was in office as far as our adversaries. He talks about the tariffs he put on a country named Guyana. If you really want to stop what's going on, what he should have done, he should have made the tariffs so high to where the American companies that have their products built over there and the American distributors, they would have been forced to go elsewhere. Not necessarily back to here to America, but to a friendly country that's not hell-bent on destroying us, because that's what's literally happening to us right now. We're being destroyed economically with little sideshows of social injustice and all. But that doesn't mean these other countries can just do this stuff. Let's say our adversary wants to come in there and, slide a hand and still continue on. No, that wouldn't be allowed. So there's my rant about number 45. Does he love America? A lot of the stuff that's been going on with him, against him, is it right? Hell no. But he seems to live in fear, like a lot of the politicians that run our country. And I mean, he just seemed, I think it was more than compromise. He just gave in, flat out. Okay, back into this. You can see what's going on. We learned from the other side about this and this. We had to shim the other side because we didn't take into account this was not resting against our stud. So to make sure of that, we took the C-clamp and did this right here before we bolted these on. There's going to be another one going on here, and then we'll work our way up the front and build that structure in. We're going to have to put a little kicker down here. We got to put that kicker in there, and then we got to put a horizontal one. You see where the come along is, to the back wall, to the studs. And there's our trusty friend, come along. Well, I don't know what we would do without it. So it's starting to create a lot less stress now, as far as now that we're almost walled in, which is, the milestone for any type of construction. So we're not there yet. I mean, even this piece, we still got to put our holes in. Should have done them beforehand, but I wasn't quite sure the construction until we started moving along. But we've got our trusty friends like this quarter. We got this, I believe it's a 3/16. We got our little dinky one here. And then we have our super jumbo right there, quarter. And our 3/8 drill bit, which definitely came in handy for drilling straight through here, making the final pass, which will also be used for up here. Although the holes are drilled prematurely, we'll have to go through it once more just to make sure this hole here and these holes up here that are already drilled are perfectly true and straight. So when we stick our 3/8 bolts in to tie down our rafters, let's find a 3/8 bolt. Yeah. Here, now you can see how it's going to go. And there we go. There's a more better three-dimensional idea. That's how that's going to go. It's going to go through here. It's going to go through here. Actually, this one's better over here. Okay, imagine there's also a rafter up here. And that's how it's going to go down. It's going to go through the rafter. It's going to go through here and go through here. So everything is tied in a monocoque fashion. So everything is dependent on one thing and another, which is good because everything absorbs and takes the load. And this roof is going to be much stronger than it ever was, or that you'll find in any mass-produced or low-quantity production RVs. So we're kind of utilizing home construction and what we have here, RV construction. As you can see, this thing likes to consume carriage bolts. Never seems to be an end. We're getting close to running out of these, which are 2.5s. So we didn't have to put the paneling on here because we were already square as far as width when we initially started that, other than down here. So we just did the transition right there from that 1/8 up to the top, so we're fine there. Don't know yet what we're going to do with that insulation, but for now it's just going to remain in limbo. So yeah, people, hope you enjoyed this update. This is what's going on. This is going to be removed as soon as we get this all buttoned up, and we'll remove this. We'll put our new 2x6s on each side, and we're going to run, I think, 3 or 4 more 2x6s in addition to 2x4s. And once we get our 2x6s and our 14-inch square is made, we will affix the electric fan vent to the new 2x6s with the roofing flashing, or whatever you want to call that stuff. And then we'll start working on getting these temporarily also fastened down and centered up with these holes, if you can see them. That's where the bolt holes go through. The big long 7-inch 3/8 bolts. So, without wasting any more repetition, I think we'll close this down. If any of you want to see the SS dog again, maybe we'll close it down with him. Piss him off, make him run away. Think that'll happen? Who knows? Okie dog. Oh, there he is. We'll say goodbye to your YouTube fans, Hawk. Okay? As you can see, it's a bit, don't know what the weather forecast is now, and I don't care. We're just trying to get some stuff done around. The temperature is manageable right now, but subject to change. Say goodbye, Hawk. No?